What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping in to talk about upcoming weapons as part of episode 1, and specifically we're going to focus on the unreleased weapons that'll be dropping during Act 2, as well as Act 3, as there are actually a handful of pretty juicy ones. So one of the weapons is another rocket-assisted frame sidearm. Of course we've seen how popular they've been over the past few months. This will only be the third one actually introduced into the game, but additionally there are a handful of other pretty juicy looking weapons that are coming, as well as some returning weapons like the Perfect Paradox and Marder's Retribution, of course from back in the Sundial era. And while of course there is that sort of time-gated component of having some of the weapons locked into future acts, it does give us at least a couple to look forward to. And so as always, I hope you guys enjoy the video today. If you do, a rating below very much helps us out on the channel. Also be sure to get subscribed so I can keep you posted with more Destiny content. But otherwise, without further delay, let's get into it. First couple of very quick mentions right here. In Act 3 of Episode 1, we are actually going to get a new exotic mission, so there's an exotic weapon coming with that of course. And if you want to check out some of the details that we know about it, I'll link a video down below. Otherwise, we also have a bit of a schedule for which weapons will come out in the upcoming acts. So for Act 2, which begins on July 16th, we'll get the Korasian Pulse Rifle, as well as the Aberrant Action, which is the rocket sidearm that we're going to get. That'll be a solar version. And then Perfect Paradox will drop in Act 2 as well. Act 3 though, will begin on the 27th of August, and that's when the Speleologist Machine Gun, Chronophage Trace Rifle, and the Marcher's Retribution Waveframe Grenade Launcher will come back to the game. I think it's also worth mentioning for those who like to prep, that if you've got all the weapons and red borders that you want from Act 1 of the episode, before we get to Act 2 on July 16th, it's probably worth holding on to a few Echo's engrams, as presumably, once the additional weapons are introduced, they will begin dropping from those engrams as well. That isn't 100% confirmed, but it's a reasonably safe bet, so perhaps it's worth pulling up a few of those. Now though, to talk about the weapons, firstly, we have the Aberrant Action. This is the upcoming rocket-assisted frame sidearm for the episode, and it'll be a solar variant, so it's the first solar rocket sidearm we've had. Of course, the Call sidearm has been very popular from the Pale Heart in Final Shape. And looking at quick stats right here, for Aberrant Action, it actually appears to have a bit more blast radius and velocity than what we see on the Call sidearm, so statistically, it looks like it's in a pretty good space. But for the perks we'll be able to roll, in the first trait slot, it can get Strategist, as well as Pugilist, and then Field Prep, plus it can roll Beacon Rounds, Threat Detector, Ambitious Assassin, and Heel Clip in that first trait slot. Then in the second slot, it can get Snapshot Sights, Harmony, Golden Tricorn, Demolitionist, Swashbuckler, as well as Reverberation, where final blows with the weapon increase the size of its detonations for a short time, and finally Incandescent. So naturally, in that first trait slot, Heel Clip, paired up with Incandescent in the second trait slot, could potentially be pretty popular. It can of course still get Beacon Rounds in the first trait slot. Then there are the mag traits in slot 1 as well, like Ambitious Assassin, which we haven't seen previously, which we can't get on the Call for example, and damage bonuses like Pugilist. And that can optionally be paired up with other damage bonuses like Swashbuckler in the second trait slot. Reverberation in slot 2 as well might be an interesting one to try out. I believe that's the first time that we can get it on a rocket sidearm, so without a doubt, Aberrant Action is going to be one that players are looking forward to. I quite like the idea of having something like Incandescent, especially given the explosive nature of rocket sidearms. That's going to be a pretty good trait, but let us know what you think of the weapon down below, and which particular roles you're most excited to look out for on this when it drops. Next up though, of course, Korasian, the Pulse Rifle will also drop in Act 2, and this is an Arc Heavy Burst Pulse Rifle. So in the first trait slot, it can get Air Trigger, as well as Perfect Float, Pugilist, and then Eddy Current, Enlightened Action, Perpetual Motion, and High Impact Reserves. And those can be paired up in the second slot with High Ground, Eye of the Storm, Frenzy, Swashbuckler, Volt Shot, One for All, or Focused Fury. It's interesting that they've put a couple of airborne bonuses on this thing. Not really sure what makes those too appealing, given that this is a high impact frame pulse rifle, or a heavy burst should we say. But Pugilist, Enlightened Action, and High Impact Reserves in the first trait slot could be interesting. Then obviously there are the damage bonuses like Frenzy and Swashbuckler in the second trait slot, although I think Volt Shot is going to be a popular one on this as well. It's interesting that it can get both High Impact Reserves and Focused Fury, as that could be another potentially decent combo. So give us your thoughts on what you'd like to get on the Pulse Rifle, but then there is the Perfect Paradox, which is a rapid fire frame kinetic shotgun of course. First trait slot can get Threat Detector, Slide Shot, Field Prep, Dual Loader, as well as Pugilist, and Threat Remover, which is a new one this season, and dealing damage with all bullets in his spread increases reload speed, handling, and stability. And those can pair up with Trench Barrel, Swashbuckler, Opening Shot, Vorpal Weapon, 1-2 punch, and barrel constrictor. Obviously there is a natural synergy with things like pugilist and trench barrel or 1-2 punch in that second slot. Most folks want to use rapid fire frame shotguns in PvE content, so let us know what roles you'd be looking out for on that one. But getting onto the Act 3 weapons, firstly, there is the Speleologist or Speleologist, however you say it. This is a rapid fire frame solar machine gun, and trait slot 1 can get Heal Clip, Enlightened Action, Stats for All, Deconstruct, Firmly Planted, Slideways, or Envious Assassin, and those compare up with Strategist, Adagio, One for All, Target Lock, Surrounded, Incandescent, or Killing Tally. And Killing Tally could definitely interact pretty well with some of those magazine bonuses like Slideways or Envious Assassin, but there are some other potentially decent roles there as well. Then we have the Chronophage, which is an adaptive frame void trace rifle, so trait slot 1 can get Strategist, Elemental Capacitor, Shoot to Loot, Pugilist, Autoloading Holster, Feeding Frenzy, and Repulsor Brace. Then slot 2 can get One for All, High Ground, Fragile Focus, Target Lock, Demolitionist, Desperate Measures, and Destabilizing Rounds. So naturally, Repulsor Brace and Destabilizing Rounds will pair pretty well. Feeding Frenzy is a solid reload bonus. Shoot to Loot is there, if you're into that. Not sure if we've had Target Lock on a Trace Rifle previously. Or you could even have interesting combos like Pugilist and Demolitionist. The final weapon though is Martyr's Retribution, which is a solar wave frame grenade launcher, and in slot 1, we can roll Field Prep, as well as Demolitionist, Threat Detector, Heal Clip, Autoloading Holster, and Envious Assassin. And those compare up with Kill Clip, which is interesting, but also Strategist, Adrenaline Junkie, Desperate Measures, Incandescent, or Vorpal Weapon. So with these being low magazine weapons, Heal Clip and Incandescent again could be pretty good. Otherwise, I think Envious Assassin could be pretty nice on this as well, especially with Incandescent or Vorpal Weapon. And Demolitionist and Adrenaline Junkie could be an interesting combination too. Plus you could even pair Heal Clip with Kill Clip, which could be pretty nice also. So there are a few combinations on this that are a little bit different and certainly have some potential, and I'd say the same for most of the weapons that we're going to get in the upcoming acts. So let us know which ones stand out and any roles that you think could be really good on them. Hopefully the video today has been helpful. I've only got a couple more red borders that I really want to pick up from the current pool of weapons, and after that, I'm probably going to do my best to hold on to a bunch of engrams to try and get access to these once they do become available. That's another thing to remember. If you've enjoyed the video though, a rating below very much helps us out on the channel. Also be sure to get subscribed and I'll keep you posted with more Destiny content. But otherwise, cheers for tuning in, and I hope you guys have an awesome day.